Today I'm going to tell you 5 games that were once popular, but now they've completely flopped. These games used to own the front page, but today, you can barely find anyone playing them. Number 1. Piggy. In January 2020, a solo developer named Minitoon dropped a simple horror game on Roblox inspired by Peppa Pig and the game Granny. Nobody expected what happened next. Within weeks, Piggy was everywhere. Kids were making fan art, YouTube channels were blowing up covering it, and the game was racking up visits at a speed that made even veteran Roblox developers stop and stare. It reached 1 billion visits faster than almost any game in platform history. For context, games that had been around for years had not hit that number yet, and Piggy did it in months. The story was simple enough to follow. You played through chapters, tried to escape, figured out the lore connecting each map. Minitoon kept dropping new chapters regularly, and players showed up every single time. At its peak, Piggy felt like an event. A new chapter dropping was a genuine moment in the Roblox community, but the cracks started showing around Book 2. Minitoon, working largely alone, was pushing chapters out under enormous pressure from a fan base that wanted more and faster. The lore started getting complicated in ways that felt less like depth and more like confusion. New characters were introduced and then dropped. The story started contradicting itself. Newer players who had not been there from the start found the whole thing overwhelming, and longtime fans started arguing about what was even happening anymore. Spin-off games and new modes kept coming, but none of them recaptured the feeling of those first few chapters when the whole platform felt like it was playing Piggy together. Today, the game still exists, but the servers are quiet compared to what they once were. A victim of its own speed. Number 2. Meep City. Before Piggy, before any of the games on this list, Meep City made history. In 2019, it became the first Roblox game ever to hit 1 billion visits. 1 billion. That number was considered almost mythical at the time. The developer, Alex Neutron, had built something that felt less like a game and more like a social universe. You had your house, your pet Meep, your coins, and most importantly, the parties. The party feature was the beating heart of Meep City. Players would host parties in their estates. Other players would show up. And the whole thing turned into a chaotic, creative social experience that had no real equivalent on the platform. It was Roblox's version of a hangout spot. Millions of kids spent hours just existing in Meep City, not even doing anything competitive, just being there with other people. Then the party feature got removed. Reports of players using the party system for inappropriate behavior forced Alex Neutron to take it down, and the version of Meep City that came back after that was never the same. The social energy that made the game special was gone. What remained was still functional, but it had lost its soul. Players drifted away to other social games and never came back in the same numbers. Meep City still sits on the platform as a monument to what it used to be. Number 3, Prison Life. If you were playing Roblox between 2014 and 2018, you know Prison Life. The developer Aesthetical built one of the cleanest, most satisfying cop versus criminal games the platform had ever seen. Guards tried to keep inmates locked down. Inmates tried to escape, get weapons, cause chaos. It was simple, balanced, and genuinely fun in a way that held up across hundreds of sessions. At its peak, it had millions of concurrent players and felt like a permanent fixture of the Roblox experience. The problem was that Aesthetical essentially stopped updating it. No new content, no bug fixes as the platform evolved, no response to the changing expectations of a player base that was growing up and wanting more. Prison Life just sat there while Roblox changed around it. Mechanics that once felt smooth started feeling clunky compared to newer games. Exploiters moved in and made servers unplayable. The community that had once been massive slowly evaporated. Today, Prison Life servers are mostly empty or filled with people who loaded in out of nostalgia and left after 2 minutes. It is one of the clearest examples on Roblox of what happens when a developer abandons a game that once meant everything to the platform. Number 4. Dead Rails. Dead Rails is the newest entry on this list, and also the most interesting case study, because its fall happened in almost real time. In early 2024, Dead Rails exploded onto the Roblox platform as a survival Western shooter set on a train moving across a dangerous open world. The concept was fresh. The execution was genuinely impressive for a Roblox game, and the hype was immediate. Front page placement, millions of visits within the first few weeks, content creators covering it everywhere. But Dead Rails had a content problem. Once you understood the core loop, there was not much underneath it. The game was fun for a few sessions, and then started feeling repetitive. Updates came, but not fast enough to keep pace with a player base that had burned through everything available and was already moving on to the next thing. The initial wave of curiosity carried it far, but curiosity is not the same as loyalty. Within a few months, the numbers had dropped significantly from their peak. Dead Rails is still playable and still has a community, but the massive moment it seemed to be building toward never fully arrived. A reminder that viral growth and sustainable growth are two very different things. Number 5. Phantom Forces. Phantom Forces was, for a long time, the undisputed best first-person shooter on Roblox. Stylus Studios built something that felt genuinely competitive, with real gunplay mechanics, a deep weapon customization system, and a ranked mode that gave players something to grind toward. For players who wanted a real shooter experience inside Roblox, there was simply nothing else at its level. It was the game you pointed to when someone said Roblox could not do serious games. Stylus kept updating Phantom Forces consistently, which deserves credit. New weapons, new maps, balance patches. The studio clearly cared about what they had built. But the updates came slowly relative to what the community wanted, and over time a sense of stagnation set in. Newer Roblox shooters started appearing with fresher mechanics and more aggressive update schedules. Phantom Forces, once untouchable, found itself in competition it had never had to worry about before. The game still has players, it still works. But the days of Phantom Forces being the automatic answer when someone asked for the best Roblox shooter are over. It got overtaken, not because it got worse, but because everything around it got better faster. 5 games. 5 different reasons for the fall. Piggy burned through its story too fast. Meep City lost the feature that made it worth visiting. Prison Life got abandoned by the person who built it. Dead Rails ran out of content before it could build real loyalty. And Phantom Forces got left behind by a platform that never slows down for anyone. If you grew up playing any of these games, you already know what it felt like when they were at their peak. Hit subscribe so you do not miss it.